Hi everyone, it's Dr. Michael Jeffress. In case you don't know who I am, I'm the school counselor and a full professor at MUA. And I wanted to provide you with this resource, a short PowerPoint with some tips on preparing, well, not really preparing for an exam, but actually while you're taking an exam. So I've seen a number of students who talk about feeling a lot of anxiety when they sit down to take the test and have trouble recalling information, blank out, run out of time, those sorts of things. And so I created this PowerPoint with some tips just to keep in mind. Some of these things you may have heard about already. It may not be new information. They may be things that you do, and if so, great. But if you just get one new thing here in strategy, then it'll be worth spending about the next 15 minutes or so with me here. So I've called this How to Become a Test-Taking Ninja. All right. So here we go. So let's start with this question. Which of the following is the most effective strategy for answering multiple choice questions? Right? When you take your block exams here at medical school, all the questions are multiple choice. So let's start with a multiple choice question. Which of the following is the most effective strategy? All right. A, when in doubt, pick C. Believe it or not, I've had students tell me if they don't know the answer, they always pick C. I don't know what they base that on, but the longest answer is the correct answer. The shortest answer is the correct answer. Maybe you do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Leave it up to fate. Always pick all the above, which I don't think you'll have any of those in your medical exams. Always pick none of the above. Both E and F, or all the above. Obviously, the correct answer is none of these. All right. So why are multiple choice questions challenging? Okay. Number one, it may be an unfamiliar format for you. Based on your experiences in higher education up to now, you may not have taken many standardized tests. Perhaps your courses used different forms of assessment. Maybe if you had exams, they were more essay questions or short answer, true, false, and you're just not used to having these kinds of complex multiple choice questions. So multiple choice questions can be long, and they can cause exam fatigue. You will have questions sometimes that are, for example, a case vignette. It might be 3 or 4 sentences, like a paragraph of a question, and then you may have 6 or more answer choices. It can be tempting to select the first answer that seems right to you. You see something, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember something about that, and you take that, you answer too quickly. Questions can be complex and need decoding. I genuinely believe that none of your professors tries to word questions to trick you, but due to the nature of the subject matter, the questions can be complex, and you have to make sure that you're understanding and can break down the question and get to what's really being asked. Answer choices can be nuanced and only slightly different, and that can lead to confusion. Love this one. An answer choice can be technically true, but still be incorrect, not the right answer, even though technically the answer choice itself, as it is worded, is correct. So the answer is all the above as to why multiple choice questions are challenging. just in terms of the modality of multiple choice questions. Obviously, if you have not studied, then any question in any format could be challenging to you. So let's talk about 10 steps to becoming an MUA test-taking ninja, all right? So step 1, seems obvious, but monitor the clock. And some of you might immediately say, well, Dr. J, if I'm focused on the clock, it's taking my mind off of the questions, and that's going to add to my anxiety. I'm not talking about, looking every 5 seconds at the ticking clock on your screen. What I'm saying is periodically, at given intervals, check your progress with the clock. So let's say if you have a 90-minute exam and you have 60 questions, that's simple math, right? You have a minute and a half to answer each question. Obviously, some questions will take less time than others to answer. Some are going to stump you. But average, you have a minute and a half for each question. So after you get to, say, if there's 60 questions, once you get to question 10, see how much time has passed. After 10 questions, that should be what? 10 minutes plus 5 minutes, 15 minutes. All right. If after you answered 10 questions, you've used more than 15 minutes, then you need to pick up the pace a little bit. After you answer 20 questions, now you're a third of the way through. So you want to have 2/3 of your time. So you need to pace yourself. And that may mean needing to flag questions and move on and not spend so much time as you're facing, as they come to you. Okay? Then I say right before you click. You're taking your exams on a computer, so you're clicking your answer choice, right? Well, when you enter the exam room, you're provided with scratch paper and a pencil. And you can write on that paper, right? And you can request an additional sheet of paper as well. So I encourage you, when you sit down and you start your exam, take the first few minutes, even if you take the first 10, even 15 minutes, and just do a quick information dump. Write down things that you've memorized, lists, diagrams, charts, any kind of mnemonic device, right? A mind map, anything like that. Just quickly jot that stuff down in rapid fashion. And what that does is it can release some of your anxiety. You're like, oh my God, I hope I don't forget this. I hope I can remember this. And you're clicking through to try to find the question before you forget this or whatever. So if you just do that, then that can give you a little bit of peace of mind. It's sort of like having the net, the safety net under the tightrope as you walk it. You know it's there. So you can take your mind off and now just focus on the exam, knowing that you can look down at this key information when it comes up if you don't recall it off the top of your head. All right, so that's what I was just saying. Again, what I was just saying, key terms, lists, mnemonics, diagrams, those sorts of things, just scratch them down. And I use as an illustration here Sir Winston Churchill, because I think the principle is translatable here. So Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of Great Britain during World War II, right? And you'll remember the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force was pummeling London with nightly bombing raids. And it was Winston Churchill's powerful motivational speeches that kept up the will of the people to keep going into the coal mines and the factories and resist and not give up or give in. He's considered really only behind Martin Luther King Jr. as the greatest public speaker orator of the 20th century. And yet, he said this: never trust your memory without your manuscript. Now think about this. This is one of the greatest public speakers of all time who said, Go have your manuscript. Don't trust your memory, right? And so I kind of compare that manuscript to the scratch paper that you're writing down for your exam so that you can look down at your notes if you have a memory lapse there, okay? The third step, read the question carefully, completely, and note key words, especially adverbs. If you see the word not, never, always, except, okay? Highlight those words. Remind yourself, right? Because overlooking that one little word like that gets you the complete opposite answer, right? So read carefully, look for key terms. And remember that few things, let me go back to that, few things are never the case or always the case, right? So if an answer choice has that, unless the question is raised in the negative, like which of the following is not true of this situation, right? An answer choice with never or always, there's a high probability it could be eliminated. Then the next step is to rephrase the question in your own words. Now, you haven't looked at the answer choices yet, right? We're just focused on the question right now. You've read the question carefully. You've noted any keywords. Now, step back, close your eyes if you want to, if that helps, and put the question in your own words. Say something like, okay, this question is asking about, because see, the question may be worded in that complex technical jargon language, right? Make sure that you understand it. Put it in your own words. Then at that point, right, you're ready to answer the question. Now, try to answer the question before looking at the answer choices, right? Once you're sure you've carefully read, analyzed the question, you've put it in your own words, do you know the answer? If so, now all you need to do is among those answer choices, look for that answer because you know it. Trust your gut, trust the preparation that you put in. If you know the answer, don't allow the other answer choices to create doubt, to create confusion. Go to that answer choice that matches what you know the answer is, select it, and move on. But you don't know the answer. Now what do? The sixth strategy would be turn each answer choice into a true-false statement. And any statement that is false can be eliminated with one disclaimer, right? If the question is worded in the negative, like it's asking you, which is not true, right? Which is not correct. Okay, but generally, I think our questions are worded in the affirmative, and so certainly any question that's worded as a statement of fact in the affirmative, if an answer choice is not true, factually incorrect, you can eliminate that. Be sure you read all answer choices and then choose the best answer. Okay? The best answer. That's the key. All right? Flag any difficult question, but go ahead and mark your best guess for that answer. Okay? Don't flag a question, leave it blank, and move on. Go ahead, as difficult as it might be for you to do, click that button on one of the answer choices that's your best guess. Then, time permitting, you can go back and review the questions, obviously, that you flagged. But if you run out of time, those flagged questions are not going to be submitted empty. And you at least have a fighting chance of getting it correct because you gave your best guess, right? And it's not just simply a guess that you've pulled out of thin air, right? It's informed by your study, right? By your preparation. So trust that. And that is the point of step 9 in this process. Always keep your first answer that you've selected when you are in doubt. Okay? This is grounded in pedagogical science research that students who change their answers more often than not, this is just a fact, more often than not, they change from the correct answer to an incorrect answer. And I can't tell you already in the past year how many students I've had sitting right back here on this couch in my office tell me that when they reviewed their exam, they got questions wrong that they initially had answered correct and changed it. Don't do that. The only way that you change your answer is if further down the exam there's a question that somehow sheds light on the previous question, or it jogs your memory in a way that you realize that you were mistaken. All right. In that case, yes, go back, change your answer, but only if you're 100% confident. Okay? Then, step 10, not to be overlooked. Review all questions before submitting your exam for grading. Now, when I say to do this, this is not the time to go through and second guess all your answers. The main purpose of this review is to go through and make sure that you didn't create any typos, as it were, right? Sometimes you intended to click B, but somehow, can't explain it, you clicked C. And you're like, I didn't click C, I clicked B, right? This is what the purpose of the review is for, to make sure you did not make any human errors here, right? All questions are answered. You didn't get your lines crossed anywhere, right? Then submit it. Okay? So I just wish you much success in your studies, in your exams. There is no shortcut. There are no shortcuts. It takes discipline. It takes hard work and preparation. And strategy such as what I've just shared with you. There's methods that you can employ and work that are going to increase the odds of you staying mentally sharp, being able to recall, being prepared, and getting through your exam successfully.